There are a few more topics that you need to understand about coagulation. One is the term procoagulant. In the previous two videos, I talked about several clotting factors and how clotting factors circulate through the blood as inactive proteins that become activated. And they all support the formation of fibrin and the formation of a clot. And so those proteins are all known as procoagulants because they support the formation of a clot. You also need to know about the role of vitamin K. Vitamin K we think of as being kind of a nutrient. We need it to be healthy, and specifically here's the reason why. Vitamin K is a coenzyme, meaning it's a chemical that helps enzymes in the liver that synthesize several of the clotting factors. So in order to actually synthesize those clotting factors in the first place, we need vitamin K. So that's why it's an essential nutrient. Another topic that you need to understand is anticoagulants. These are chemicals that circulate in the body that help the circulatory system control or even stop the formation of inappropriate clots. One of them is activated protein C. This anticoagulant is going to interfere with the activity of several clotting factors. And so by blocking the action of those clotting factors, these cascades are stopped and there's no formation of fibrin. Heparin is another substance that circulates in the blood, and it interferes with thrombin. And so by blocking thrombin, we can't form fibrin at the end of coagulation. And then antithrombin is another substance that, not surprisingly, blocks the activity of thrombin, but it also interferes with the action of other clotting factors. And so we have several ways of controlling for inappropriate clots that might initiate in blood vessels. One more substance that might be an anticoagulant is plasmin. Plasmin is an enzyme that's incorporated in a clot. And plasmin has a delayed activation in which it starts to become activated after the clot is already formed, and it actually digests fibrin, which helps break apart the clot. This does a couple of things. One, it helps control for clots that might not need to form, but it also helps us get rid of clots that have formed once the tissue repair process has begun and has replaced the damaged tissue. So we know that plasmin is fibrinolytic. It breaks apart or digests fibrin. But it may also be an anticoagulant. There are data that support a role for plasmin in digesting clotting factors, which would make it an anticoagulant. A related topic is blood thinners. This is a category of drugs that people take when they are prone to forming clots inappropriately. The name is a bit of a lie because these chemicals don't actually cause the blood to become thinner in terms of its viscosity. What these chemicals do is interfere with blood clotting at some stage. One blood thinner that I'm sure you've heard of before is aspirin. Lots of people will take this, and this chemical interferes with the action of thromboxane A2. Thromboxane A2, you might remember, is one of the chemicals that's released by platelets during the release reaction. After a platelet has attached to collagen or another platelet, it's one of the chemicals that's released that helps bring in more platelets. So by blocking the action of thromboxane A2, aspirin can interfere with the clotting process. Another chemical that people will take is warfarin, which you may have heard of as Coumadin. This interferes with vitamin K metabolism, and in doing so, that's going to block the synthesis of several clotting factors. And then a pharmaceutical drug that is also very commonly prescribed is Plavix. This chemical specifically interferes with the binding between fibrin proteins and platelets, and that's going to interfere with the formation of a stable platelet plug. So these are several small topics that are related to the overall concept of controlling blood clots.